Hello everyone, this is Bobbin Threadbare, and welcome back to the Human Revolution. Alright, well, where we last left off... That was a weird little glitch. Where we last left off, we had just about finished exploring Detroit.
I suggest you keep moving.
And now there's just one last little bit we haven't been to yet, because we got interrupted by a side quest.
Don't interfere, sir. I will arrest you if I have to. This is a very serious matter. The city's practically under siege by these idiots.
There's the box guard. It does look rather formidable. What if they're going to have to repave this street afterwards?
Out of the way. There's a riot going on. I'm kind of busy.
Heavy machinery can do a real number on a city street.
This isn't a good time, sir. We're trying to clear the streets. An og like you walking around is liable to get the mob going again. So be careful.
I think this would be a safe space for Augs. She's on the phone.
Got some serious police brutality going on here.
Someone's gonna get hurt.
They're taking out anyone who looks at them sideways.
The footage from those news reports looks pretty authentic.
I don't pay much attention to protests like that. It's just a bunch of goons looking for a reason to smash things and loot businesses.
Yeah, I hadn't looked up here before.
Looks like Detroit is burning once again. These people are just looking for any reason to go on a rampage.
How can any sane people do this? They're out of control.
I'd never witnessed a mob before. It was so scary.
Lim believes in free access to augmentations for everyone, everywhere, but we still ask you to wait your turn.
Ah, damn it. She went in the back room.
Will you be purchasing anything today?
I don't know, let's see. Got enough Typhoon ammo. I guess I could use one more Hypostim.
Always a pleasure, sir.
Yep, she's just sort of standing back there. There's no way to get into her. I just have to wait for her routine to go back if I wanted to talk to her again, but, you know, it's not really worth the wait. And there's nothing new in the back area either, so that's why I just skipped that.
This isn't a good time, sir. We're trying to clear the streets.
This is not a good time to talk to anyone from DPD.
This isn't a good time, sir. We're trying to clear the streets.
It's a good thing I got all of the garages around here beforehand. I don't think they would take kindly to me hacking.
Unless this is an emergency, I suggest you keep moving.
And don't do anything.
And once again, the street is blocked here, but this time it's by a police barricade. Still has the sound effects of a traffic jam, though.
Everything seems to be under control in the convention center.
And Taggart?
He's on stage now. His protection is deep. Only those with VIP passes can get by the guards.
We'll just stay here and make sure none of those hooligans try to sneak in the back door. You can't get in unless you have a pass. The riots forced us to block off the meeting hall during the speech.
Can I help you, man? No one is allowed in the meeting hall. Too many loonies out.
Well, unless you have a pass. Anyway, fun fact, that is an exit that I cannot reach right now because of that metal barricade. This back area here is just the same, but I've already looted it, looks like. Alright, now we're in the convention hall proper. Haven't been able to get in here before. Let's see. Looks like it's a long road to the main staircase, but the back staircase is right there. And our ultimate goal is on the 3rd floor here. Ah, there's the 2nd floor. I was wondering where that was. You got all of these displays here that you can walk behind.
Third time this escalator has broken down this week.
You think they would actually work and not just sit there looking good? Damn, buddy.
Tell me about it. Now with all the damage out there, I doubt we're gonna see any increase in funding anytime soon.
Looks like the only thing escalating are those damn riots. This whole city is going to shit.
Making fun of the fact the engine can't handle actual escalators.
You think they would actually work and not just sit there looking good? Damn, buddy. Looks like the only thing escalating are those damn riots.
Hello.
This whole city is going to
It is very commendable when someone like you shows interest in our work. I would try to explain it, but you obviously would not understand.
I think that guy has the same dialogue as the Taiyang medical scientists.
Yes. Don't know how welcome someone like you will be in here. Watch your step. Tagger's got some of his own handling security. Can't say I like the way they look, though.
Nanotechnology. Next steps in human evolution?
I know you probably don't agree with what Mr. Taggart has to say, but you can't deny that he's a powerful speaker. I hope this ride doesn't reflect badly on him, though. That would unravel all the good work he's doing.
Apparently the Detroit Convention Center is usually more pro-augmentation.
It's crazy. Don't come down here.
She's on the phone. Trying to overhear a conversation here. She isn't saying much, though.
Bill is really changing the world for the better.
Or changing it back to what it used to be. To before these people started poisoning their bodies. Or to use his words, their divine engines.
See, I have no problem with amputees wanting to get augmentations.
Especially our soldiers. That's the least they deserve after defending our country. Like Taggart's patient, Ezekiel.
Right. And what happened to Ezekiel? He got himself a new limb that sent him into a spiral of despair because of the drugs. Essentially, what Bill Taggart is asking is, do we really want to have a world filled with addicts being forced to pay exorbitant amounts of money to a bunch of corporate neuropozyne pushers?
I just don't get why certain people have this loony idea that augmentations will make the world better.
Well, as you can see by what's going on out there, they have a lot of work to do to convince the world.
Or they could pay the company to make neuropozyne a free patent.
Hey, are you able to get in to hear Taggart's speech? I wish I could. He's my idol.
And they could sell cheap generics, and they wouldn't have to worry about the whole addiction thing.
Do you know the story of Ezekiel?
Because it's not an addiction. It is a necessary drug to keep you alive.
No, I'm sorry, but we're not gonna let you. You're not gonna let me? Ha! And do you know how he's gonna influence legislation? How he's going to convince you this is really what you want? With fear! He's already started! Look outside, in our streets. Who do you think whipped up that frenzy? And I don't blame them, I blame people like Taggart. People who are constantly trying to divide us by our differences, instead of uniting us by our similarities.
Whoops. Triggered this conversation.
I can't believe there are still people out there with such backward mentalities.
This UN resolution he wants past his persecution, plain and simple.
Agreed. He loves to claim over and over again what a peaceful organization Humanity Front is. But just look outside. In a non-direct way, he's promoting this kind of reaction.
Well, there have always been nuts like Taggart trying to stop human progress. By the end of the day, the human need to explore always wins out. He'll be a relic in no time.
I hope you're right. I'm just wondering when Hugh Darrow is going to come out of his shell and take a position. It seems like this whole resolution is on hold until he speaks up. Are you for or against human enhancement? I think everyone has the right to their opinion, but bigots like Taggart shouldn't be given a soapbox to stand on.
You're not actually going to hear that guy's speech, are you? I, for one, think people like Taggart should be muzzled.
Discovered the secret of augmentation. He gave us the
But what if he pays for the soapbox himself?
For limits that we couldn't even imagine before.
How can any sane people do this?
Well, you've
They're
just
out of
heard
control.
William Taggart speak.
Never witnessed a mob
Isn't
before.
he a smooth
Man,
talker?
the
So
riot
scary.
police are
He
closing
doesn't
in.
want you
Gonna
to
lock the
better
whole place
yourselves.
down. I'd get
He
out of
wants
here
to
if I were
limit
you.
Look
He
around.
wants the government
This
to have
ain't the
jurisdiction
time.
over your body.
Get the hell out of
You want
here.
to get augmented?
There's a goddamn riot going on and you
I'm
want to
sorry,
chat me
but
up?
We're not gonna let
Get
you.
lost.
You're not gonna let
Get
me.
the cops? They're in no mood to fuck around tonight, and neither am I.
Damn, woman.
You know how he's gonna influence legislation?
He's right.
How
Runaway
he's going to
technology will
convince
only
you
lead to
this is really what
self-destruction.
you want?
There has to be some means of
With
control.
fear.
Are you for
He's
or
already
against
started.
human enhancement?
Look outside.
As much as money doesn't belong in politics, money will always be a part of politics.
How can you not see that?
That it's inevitable because politics and the economy are intrinsically linked.
Part of the problem, but we've got the solution, pal.
Listen, I've been a victim of this.
So the question becomes not how do we get money out of politics, but how do we regulate money,
by people who are
and who determines which points of view deserve money and which don't?
an augmented man, a
And how do we appoint the people who get to decide that?
where the real danger comes from.
It's not an easy question. Oh, you're off the phone?
This is horrible. They're gonna blame Mr. Taggart for this riot. I've already heard some people say it was his speech that sparked the violence, but that's ridiculous.
The convention center has been quiet all night. I expect it to stay that way.
Yeah, and that's another question they're raising here. How do you control all of the people who agree with you when they are inherently uncontrollable? Because they are different people with different minds and different wills, and who belong to different organizations. Also, that is pretty detailed for just being outside the box.
Hey, are you able to get in to hear Taggart's speech? I wish I could. He's my idol.
When Hugh
I don't know
Darrow
how it
discovered
happened.
the secret of augmentation,
One second it was a peaceful demonstration near the
gave
limb
us the
clinic.
chance
The
to
next,
better our
people are
lives. Start
running
troubling
towards
the
Sarah
limits that we
Plaza,
couldn't
grabbing
very
anything they
tight
could.
Mr. Taggart's visit. Most of his people look like thugs to me, but I'll bet they're well trained.
Oh, nice. You can see the skybox from here, too.
You don't have to get uppity just because I don't agree with you, miss.
I'm not getting hot. It just frustrates me how some of you pro-humanists act so superior. Like you have all the answers to every ethical question ever posed.
Well, who are you to think you can just turn yourself into robots, abuse drugs, and then think you can function freely in our society?
You and that asshole Taggart, just try to take away my freedom and see what happens.
Some people just need to calm down. I'm not the kind of person who argues in public.
Yeah, yes, clearly.
Sorry, but I need to finish this discussion. These Humanity Front nuts are a bunch of smug sons of bitches.
Looks like Detroit is burning once again. These people are just looking for any reason to go on a rampage.
Did you notice, though, by the way? One of them called the other one uppity, the other one called the guy superior. I think there's something intentional about the similarities of their arguments and the way they both immediately devolve into insults instead of actually talking about the issues. But yeah, that's where the escalator that's getting fixed is, back down that way. And these doors are blocked off, so clearly I can't open them past that, cordon.
Cost letters posted.
Yeah. Backstage area is completely blocked off. Even the janitor can't get back there now.
What about the air vents?
You're kidding, right? Have you seen the size of those vents? You expect a contortionist or midget is going to try to assassinate Taggart?
Don't get smart. You got a pass? Okay, you're good. Just don't stand around, please.
The press conference is still going on. You're clear to go on in.
Well, it's nice that they don't even have any sort of check station or anything, because you basically have to have the pass to get here. Got some interesting security around the back here.
What are you doing in here, Hanser? Looking to start trouble? I'll be watching you.
That men's room is adjacent to the part I'm not allowed to get in. I think I'll try a different approach first.
I hope you're just here to listen. Although Mr. Taggart is done with his speech already.
Doesn't sound like it.
I suggest you don't disrupt the proceedings. Nobody here is gonna stand up for an AUG tonight.
Well, let's just get these beers out of the way first. And then, while we're riding high...
Human evolution is a fantasy, but that is exactly what I am telling you. As a world...
Where's your sidekick, Taggart? 6 months ago, Seraph Industries was attacked by mercenaries whose objective was to cripple our research. But I've learned the attack was just a smokescreen. Megan Reed's team was kidnapped, and Isaiah Sandoval, your personal aide, was involved.
That is ridiculous. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for Mr. Jensen's intrusion, and I assure you that these accusations are without basis.
Are they?
This is Sandoval. Why are you calling me here?
There's been a change of plans. Seraph's team must not make it to the hearing.
But that's too soon. If you want me to remove the GPLs, I'll need a full operating suite. Does the facility have one?
That's your man, Taggart. Talking about removing implanted GPL devices so that the people who took Seraph scientists could cover it up.
I see what's going on here. Seraph Industries has received 2 black eyes in the last few days. The first, due to the shocking news coming out of Montreal that biotech companies are secretly participating in unethical super soldier experiments. And the second, as a result of their violent escalation of today's peaceful protest. David Seraph and his corporate bedfellows are desperate and in imminent danger of losing the regulation vote, so this man has been sent here to attack my reputation.
I'm right here, Taggart. Look at me. I admit, I wouldn't feel bad if your reputation was damaged in front of the press, since you've been doing the same to my colleagues for years, but that's not why I'm here. Seraph scientists are alive, and it's time for the truth to come out.
The truth, Mr. Jensen, is that this recording of yours proves nothing. It could have been made by anyone in the world with a grudge against Humanity Front, and you are our prime suspect.
He's, trying to blame me, so he's probably trying to sway the audience. So let's just confront him about that.
You're right, it's not enough to get a conviction. But it's enough for a search warrant. That's all I want, Taggart. Why are you standing in the way?
I'm not. I'm trying to protect... Look, Mr. Jensen. I know why you came here instead of taking your recording to the police. I know the real reason for your accusations, and you're not entirely to blame for what you're doing. It is common, after trauma such as the one you suffered, to fixate on the event, to stay blocked in the past. In a word, you're obsessed.
He's trying to get in my head. So, we will need to redirect his argument, I believe. Yes, definitely redirect.
I can worry about myself later. What's really important now is the 5 innocent people whose lives were stolen from them during that attack. Sandoval knows where they are. Now, where is he?
I don't want to see anyone's lives stolen from them. As you know, I was a practicing psychologist before I devoted my life to ending the threat of augmentation. And I've seen this kind of behavior before. You're confused. You consider me your enemy, and you think the only way you can regain control is to defeat me in some way. You're wrong, I'm afraid.
Alright, trying to get inside my head again, so I suspect I will need to redirect again. Yeah, he's not pumping himself up. He did a little there at the beginning. But mostly he was trying to get inside my head.
You want to talk about control, Taggart? Let's talk about yours. It takes a lot of discipline to stand up in front of the press every time a pro-augmentation company or clinic is assaulted and then deny responsibility. How does it feel to know your people are so out of control they would resort to violence like that?
How does it feel? Of course, it's terrible, but When I founded Humanity Front, I dedicated the organization to the memory of my wife Marjorie, who died trying to help a man addicted to augmentation surgery come to terms with his illness. Marjorie refused to resort to violence. So why would any member of this group do otherwise? We are simply not those kind of people. I wish I could make you see that, but I fear you are unable to comprehend non-violent solutions.
It's sort of a mix of all three, isn't it? Getting the audience, but I think most of all, he's puffing himself up.
Who's the one showing disrespect to your wife's memory right now? You chose to be responsible for everyone underneath you the day you chose to be the boss. Sandoval launched an attack on Seraph Industries, and you're hiding him from me? You're no better than he is.
You impertinent son of a... Mr. Jensen, if you knew Isaiah Sandoval as well as I do, if you knew the core of his being, in spite of his family history, you too might fight tooth and nail to defend him as I have. But you're right. If he has done something regrettable, then the truth needs to come out, whatever it may be. I'll show you where Isaiah is. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize, but I'm going to have to beg your indulgence for a few moments more. If you will all please remain patient, I will return as soon as I can. Thank you. Mr. Jensen, I'll see you backstage.
All right. Well, something funny about this particular ending is that it kind of affects something in the future that if I had succeeded using something different, the future would have changed. It's kind of odd. But I think that's how it goes.
I don't know how it started, but I'll bet William Taggart's speech sparked it. There's something about him I don't like.
You're blogging about him, though.
Get away from me. I am not from around here. I can't help you.
I don't want any trouble. Please, I'm just trying to get home.
Take a walk, buddy.
Man, the riot police are closing in. Gonna lock the whole place down. I'd get out of here if I were you.
If we don't listen to Bill Taggart, the corporations are going to completely take over. We need to get a UN resolution on this. Someone needs to step up to the plate.
I'm surprised to see an augmenter here after all that's happened. It's pretty obvious to me that one of you started this riot. I'm sure the protest was peaceful until some aug showed up.
I'm sure.
I don't know how the riot started, but I'm not going out there until the streets are cleared up. I heard the police have their hands full, though. Looters and vandals have joined the legitimate protesters. Now it's out of control. This is horrible. They're gonna blame Mr. Taggart for this riot.
This ain't the time.
I sure hope Bill Taggart is able to convince the UN about getting involved. Things can't go on like this. Someone has to oversee this augmentation business.
Wow, you've got some nerve showing up here. You looking to cause trouble or something?
I kind of already did.
And Mr. Taggart warned us there might be aug trouble tonight. You aren't going to be that trouble, are you? That would be a mistake.
Again, I kind of already was.
Several cities this evening after viewing controversial
You got a problem,
satellite footage
Don't do
uncovered by
anything
Titus.
stupid.
I hope you're just here to listen.
Toronto, Mumbai,
Although
Stay
Mr.
away
Taggart
from Mr.
is
Taggart.
done with his speech
all the more
already.
violent clashes
What are you
taking
doing
place
here anyway?
outside the
This isn't the place for your kind.
My kind, huh? Anyway, that leads to Taggart, so...
We've got our eyes on you, Og. Don't try anything funny. We know how treacherous your kind can be.
Just give me an excuse. I'll keep those hands as trophies. Just keep walking, and don't do anything stupid. We're trained to deal with you handsers.
I don't think you're trained enough to deal with me. But luckily it doesn't matter. I have permission to be here now. So I can just wander wherever I want. Even into the ladies' room. Although there's really nothing here, it looks like. Nope, nothing in here. Some of the men's room, though. Oh, hey? Well, and there's a second one concealed back here, too. Now that is kind of important to have both of these entrances here into the ducts. Because you see, this one goes over to the urinal side, and yeah, that's where that guard goes every once in a while. So it's a good way to sneak past him. So, where do these go? Well, this is just above the guys with the couch. So, if I keep going past them, down this way, we will get to the room where Taggart is waiting for us.
Mr. Jensen, I appreciate you allowing me to deal with this in a more discreet manner.
Save it, Taggart. You've wasted enough of my time as it is. Now where's Sandoval?
He has an apartment he uses when in this city, on Grand River Road. He mentioned he was feeling very run down, so I can only assume he went there.
I see.
He's not an evil man, Mr. Jensen. If he's done what you say, it's only because of his brother, Ezekiel. A man you might know better as Zeke Sanders.
Sanders? The man who attacked Sarah's manufacturing plant?
I knew nothing about it until after it was over, and then I tried. I tried to convince Isaias not to follow in his footsteps.
Good job.
Mr. Jensen, please. Isaias has done so much for so many needy people, people suffering from implant rejection. Promise me you will deal with him fairly.
That all depends on Isaias.
I understand, but please try. I've told you all I know, Mr. Jensen. Isaias has an apartment on Grand River Road. I don't know if he's there. I'm beginning to wonder if I ever knew anything about him. Please, Mr. Jensen. He is simply a confused man, torn by divided loyalties.
Watch it, sir. There are guards everywhere. Any attempt on Mr. Taggart will be met with deadly force. Don't even make any sudden moves.
Now, here's the UN resolution he's been working on.
You see what's happening in the city, Og. The people are rising up against your kind. It's about time someone put a stop to this technology.
It was a very Canadian against right there. Anyway, yeah, this is another way in, the weak wall. And, yeah, you can't touch this computer now, but if we hadn't convinced William Taggart, or we had snuck in through the back, that would be how we get the information on Sandoval. And yeah, Sandoval, Sanders. Kind of obvious once you stop and think about it. Well, that's the way out, the quick way out. And in this room, we've got some ammunition. Got some boxes. And hidden behind the boxes... we have the weak wall. And some credits. So yeah, if you can sneak past that camera there, past all of these guards around here, you can get in. Or you could, take the ventilation duct up here, if you, happen to look up. Apparently I can't climb up through there for some reason. It won't let me.
Any idea what's going on out there?
Apparently it's settling down a little. Police have cleared the streets.
I heard they were pretty aggressive.
Yeah, I heard that too. I'm happy we don't have to go out there.
Amen to that. Alright, I'm gonna go back and make sure no one's sneaking around the halls.
Hey, I'm not sneaking.
We've got our eyes on you, Og. Don't try anything funny. We know how treacherous your kind can be.
That again.
Don't make any sudden moves, sir, especially around Mr. Taggart. We'll be watching you.
Alright, well, we could take the stairs down, but let's just crawl through the shaft here. Which allows us to climb onto the top of a ventilation duct. Interesting. But yes, this is how you sneak all the way over to the exit, even if there are people down here. And a nice quiet way down would be to use those boxes over there. But...
Just stay away from Mr. Tagger. Everything will be fine. What are you doing here anyway? This is the place.
Well, luckily I don't have to care about any of that, because I talked my way through. Anyway, looks like that's all there is back here. So let's just make for the exit. Yep, remember what I was saying earlier about the back way in? Well, there you go. Or rather, here we are.
Come on, come on!
Yep, and the gate has gone up since we were in here.
Jensen? I almost didn't recognize you. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, what are the chances? Do you remember me? I was a rookie when you still rolled in SWAT.
Nikki. Of course I remember you. How you been? The brass got you on riot control too?
Yeah, I am. Or I was until... Damn it. Look, something big is going down, and I'm kind of freaking out here. You remember that MCBer, Jacob White? You busted him a couple of times.
Yeah, I remember him. Assault and possession. He's still running rackets?
No, I mean, yeah, shit, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter, because he's moved on to bigger things.
Nikki, slow down.
Listen, hear me out. I just got word he has his hands on some real military-grade explosives. The prick's got a fucking bomb, Adam. And you know how much he hates the PD. He's going to hit us while we have our pants down with the riots. You gotta help us out here.
Nikki, I'm kind of busy. If he's got a bomb, just call it in and follow procedure.
What do you think I've been doing? I've been on the horn all night, and my CO already sent a patrol over to Jacob's house. We've got a warrant, so they searched the place, but nothing came up, not even Jacob. Now they're saying my CI is probably full of shit and just fucking with me. Bullshit! Jacob's using the riots as cover, and he's going to hit us, and hit us hard. Adam, I need you to trust me on this. You gotta help me find Jacob.
This is a surprising side quest.
So why is it nobody trusts your source?
He used to run with White's old crew, but he's a 3-strike pert facing a dime on some damn parole violation. He's trying to cop a deal, so nobody trusts him. Thing is, I know he's reliable. He hasn't bullshitted me yet, and I don't think he's doing it now.
I have to admit, Nikki, I'm having a hard time believing White could come up with something like this. He can barely tie his own shoelaces without tripping all over himself.
That was then. This is now. After his last stint in Standish, he got bug-eyed crazy. Started talking about how the gang war in Derelict Row was all part of a government plot, and it's time he did something about it.
I remember him saying that augmented kid we took down last year was a cover-up.
Exactly! And he's been railing against Wayne Haas, the PD, and anyone else involved in that ever since. I'm telling you, Adam, he's been getting more and more violent. Now he's got explosives, and we've got a giant bullseye painted on our ass.
How did White even manage to get his hands on explosives?
My source says he got the bomb materials from some government stash out in Highland Park. It's all I know so far. But it all fits! He was last seen ranting at a rally about shattering the foundation of the hypocrisy or some bullshit like that. You know, quoting Che Guevara and talking about violent revolution.
Did he have the shirt, too?
What? Anyway, he practically named the date and time of this reckoning. And it's tonight. It has to be.
What is it exactly that you need me to do?
You mean you'll help me out? Really?
I didn't say that. Assuming I did agree to help, what would you need me to do exactly?
Oh. Well, based on Jacob's history and his new political agenda, I can almost guarantee he's going after cops. I've warned everyone working street detail and anyone else who'd listen to keep an eye out. But with half the force tied up with the protests and rioting, I can't get the manpower for a proper search. I need you to check a few spots my CI thinks Jacob could be at, and take care of the threat if you can. Even if you find nothing, great. It put my mind at ease, at least.
Nikki, look, I don't work for the city anymore, and I don't exactly have a lot of time right now.
Yeah, I understand. Look, the cops have a Deadpool going. I don't like it, but you kill a cop killer and you get a bounty. I usually reserve this to pay off our CIs, but if Jacob really is going after us, then he's as good as dead as far as I'm concerned. You take him out, the bounty is yours. To be honest, though, I'd rather see him rotting behind bars. If you can knock him out and give him to us alive, I'll try to sweeten the deal.
I don't think that's how a Deadpool works.
Fine, I'll help. Let's go over what we know. Just the facts.
What we know? Just the facts? What we know is he's certified batshit crazy, hates cops, quotes Che Guevara, and got his hands on military-grade explosives. What more do you need to know? Oh, Christ, man. I've got nobody to help me, and I can't even breathe. How am I supposed to find this guy? The bomb could be right under us, right now!
Alright. What this guy needs is a, verbal slap in the face.
Nikki, you're a cop. Act like it. How are you gonna earn your stripes if you shit yourself under pressure like some wet-behind-the-ears rookie at the academy?
Fuck. You're right. Damn it. I'm sorry. I lost my head. I'm still in the game, Adam. It won't happen again. You can trust me on this.
Just focus, okay? We know that White hates cops, so his first target is probably gonna be the precinct or somewhere nearby. Make sense?
Yeah, and he wouldn't risk hanging around the bank or transit station. They've got those security cameras with facial recognition software. And the precinct is shut down thanks to the internal affairs investigation. That leaves the precinct alleys and sewers as the most probable places to find White. I'm going to get on the horn and update my CO. Can you check those two locations? And Jensen, be careful. White may have left booby traps lying around. He's like that, now that I think about it.
No problem. Anything else you can give me?
I don't know. You remember what White looks like, right? Tall, Caucasian, skinhead? He's not the quietest guy, so you'll probably hear him before you see him.
Yeah, a real philosopher king. I remember.
Yeah, so if you just keep your eyes and ears open, I'm sure you'll find him. Also, I heard he's had some major augmentation work done. I'd be extra careful around him. I think the White we used to know has been replaced with something much worse.
Got it.
I know it's a long shot, but I'm hoping we get backup to expand the search. In the meantime, we can check those areas, and who knows, maybe we'll catch a break. Oh, and Jensen, please don't turn him into a martyr. I'd prefer him breathing.
Presumably, if we hadn't pressured Nicholas, he would have given us more areas to search. I haven't actually checked that, but it makes sense. Anyway, the alleyway was a bust, so I'm cutting straight into the sewers here. Yeah, sure enough, he's left booby traps. Luckily, I know what to do about booby traps. Disable them, one by one. Follow the little red light. And listen for the beeping. It's about, gotta be around here some... Oh, there it is. Oh, and there's one more. You know, these really aren't that good for, surprising people, what with all the beeping and flashing. Oh dear. Well, let's see. I can at least mark the guy from here. Use invisibility to sneak up on... Oh, there's more turrets here. Alright, we'll just pack you into a corner where you won't be able to hurt me. Now there was another turret just around on the left there. And the water here would be electrified if I hadn't done something about that. Oh, great. A third turret. It's just about to look this way. Alright. Looks good. I can just spin this around to face the wrong direction in a little alcove. You won't be able to see anything even if it turns really far to the side. Oh, and there's the man of the hour. Just gotta wait for him to turn around. Alright. This'll be easy. Spin you around. That should do. Pocket secretary. Just gotta unmark him here. Alright, what's he got in here? Just some nonsense. Oh, and here's the bomb. It's another one of those chemical bombs, so I can do this the easy way. Alright, well, that disabled it. Uh-oh. Apparently that one turned a little bit too far to one side. And I lost my bonus health. Oh well. Oh, but here's the security hub for disabling those turrets. Looks like it's a level 4, but at least the grid is nice and easy.
Access granted.
Camera failure. Interesting. Normally there just wouldn't be one, as far as I recall. Oh, and this is the other way in, so naturally it is also covered in frag mines. Man, I'm going to make a killing when I sell these to an arms dealer. Somehow that sounds irresponsible now that I say it out loud. Oh well, nothing to do about it. Just gotta carefully come up to each one of these in turn. And there's one more. Man, he must have spent like half his money just on the frag mines. And anyway, wouldn't a gas like that sink rather than float? It usually sinks, because oxygen and nitrogen are pretty light. Oh well. If he screwed up, then he screwed up. And it would make sense.
I really appreciate you helping us out, Adam, but we're running out of time. We gotta find White before he blows something up.
We're in the clear. I left White unconscious in the sewers under the precinct.
Thank God. The chief finally took me seriously and is sending some men to help out. We'll take it from here.
Great. Anything else?
Yeah, like we talked about. Here's your cut of the Deadpool bounty. I threw in a little something extra for bringing him in alive. It's good to know you're still one of the good guys, Jensen.
By the way, Nikki, White's bomb wasn't even explosive. It was a gas bomb. I managed to disable it, but you might want to get a disposal team down there to do a proper sweep and clean.
Ah, shit! I totally forgot about that. I'll get EOD on it right away. Last thing we need are more casualties. Man, I'm sure glad I bumped into you tonight. You're gonna have to let me buy you a pint down at Maggie's sometime. If I hang around you long enough, maybe some of that famous Jensen swagger will rub off on me.
Yeah, we'll do that sometime. Take care of yourself, Nikki.
Nora 92 to Central. Come in, Central. Over.
Nora 92, this is Central. Over.
That code 10 I called in earlier. It's actually gas ordnance. We need EOD down there for cleanup. Stat. Tell first response to keep their hands off, and we should quarantine the block just to be sure. Over.
10-4, Nora 92. Thanks for the heads up. Stand by for updates. Central out.
Thanks for trusting me, Jensen. I won't forget it. We lost a good man when you went private, Jensen.
What the hell is he doing with his walkie-talkie there? Weird. Oh well. For today's look at a feminist sci-fi movie in AV Corner, I'm actually going to look at a film that's much newer than what I usually look at. It's called Ex Machina, no relation to Deus Ex, and it came out back in early 2015. The story about the story. Ex Machina is based on an original idea created by the film's writer and director, Alex Garland. Garland is an English author and screenwriter who started his writing career back in 1996 with the novel The Beach. The book turned out to be a surprising success, enough to get a film adaptation, and that in turn got him some attention in the film industry. In 2001, he went back to the director and the producer who handled the adaptation, Danny Boyle and Andrew McDonald respectively, with the idea for 28 Days Later, a movie that would come out in 2002 and reinvigorate the zombie genre, despite the fact that the movie technically doesn't feature any zombies. He would later write for the movies Sunshine, Never Let Me Go, and Dredd, the 2012 movie about Judge Dredd that went over much better than Stallone's version. The idea for Ex Machina came to Garland during pre-production on Dredd, although he was apparently fascinated by the idea of machine consciousness even back when he was a kid. Specifically, he was reading a book titled Embodiment and the Inner Life, Cognition and Consciousness in the Space of Possible Minds. So this isn't just some passing interest to him. Garland was also inspired by a friend of his who works in neuroscience and who claimed machine sapience would ultimately be impossible. Ex Machina is basically Garland's counterargument. Ex Machina was filmed on a budget of $15 million, which for reference is nearly half of Dark City's budget of $27 million, and that was considered small back in 1998. This was apparently a deliberate choice on Garland's part. The movie is very small and intimate in scope, so it didn't need a lot of money. Plus, it meant that he got to maintain complete creative control. As it is, the tiny budget makes the special effects all the more impressive. The lead robot, Ava, has a skeletal design that the special effects crew created by filming the shots with the real actress in a skin-tight suit, filming the shots again without her, and then superimposing some parts of her body while erasing the rest and replacing it with a CGI animation that follows her movements. They even 3D printed the robotic parts just to make sure that they would really fit together and articulate properly. But yeah, there wasn't one green screen or green outfit in the whole movie. Ex Machina would go on to be a sleeper hit, which is kind of like a cult film, except that people discover it before the theater run ends instead of after. As such, it earned $36 million at the box office and went on to earn dozens of awards and nominations, including an Academy Award nomination for Best Original Screenplay and a win for Best Visual Effects. But rather than talk about the buzz, how about I talk about the story? The movie starts out by quickly establishing the premise. The protagonist, Caleb Smith, is a programmer who works for the company Blue Book, which is basically Google in all but name. He just won an internal company sweepstakes that entitles him to spend a week with the company's reclusive founder, Nathan Bateman. So he travels by helicopter to Nathan's private mountain estate, gets a personalized metal key card from the front door, and heads inside. Just downstairs, Caleb finds Nathan as he's exercising on the back porch. As Nathan explains it, he likes to exercise after a night of hard drinking as a way to make up for the excess. Not that there was a party. Nathan then takes Caleb downstairs and explains that his card will open some of the doors, but not all of them. As he shows Caleb his room, he also explains that this floor has no windows because he's conducting top-secret research in it. Not only that, but this research is why Nathan brought Caleb in, and he'll have to sign a non-disclosure agreement to see anything more. After Caleb signs, Nathan explains that he's brought him there to conduct a Turing test, which is Alan Turing's old idea that a computer that can convince a person that it is a fellow human has effectively achieved human-level consciousness. Now, this is a very outdated concept that predates even the term artificial intelligence. And so what Nathan actually wants Caleb to do is interview a robot he knows is a robot and judge whether it is sapient. As Nathan watches from a remote location, Caleb enters a glass cubicle, notices a shatter mark, and then speaks to Ava, a full-size, fully articulated humanoid robot with a detailed human face and a mostly transparent body. The interview only lasts a few minutes, and it mostly consists of Caleb asking Ava a few basic questions about her origins. Afterwards, Caleb and Nathan chat about Ava, and Nathan explains what I said earlier, that this isn't a standard Turing test. Then, as Caleb tries to sleep, he clicks a remote and finds out that he can watch Ava through the camera system. No audio though. As he watches, Ava presses a button and the power goes out for about a minute, locking Caleb inside. Once the power comes back, he wanders into Nathan's lounge, and Nathan explains that he doesn't know what causes the power failures, but the failures cause a lockdown for security purposes. The next morning, Caleb is awakened by a Japanese woman bringing him breakfast. Nathan later explains that this is Kyoko, a live-in maid who doesn't speak English, again for security reasons. During the second Ava session, Ava shows Caleb a pointillistic drawing of random geometric shapes. Caleb encourages her to sketch something physical. After that, Ava starts asking Caleb some questions so that their conversations aren't so one-sided. She even turns his own comments back at him, which Caleb thinks is an amazing demonstration of wit. We learn that Caleb is 26, single, and lives on his own in Long Island. Oh, and he has no living relatives. When Ava starts asking Caleb about Nathan, the power goes out again. Ava takes this moment to tell Caleb not to trust Nathan. That evening, Nathan gets angry at Kyoko when she drops a wine glass, and Caleb avoids telling Nathan what Ava said during the power failure. Then, when Caleb goes to bed, he spends some more time watching Ava. On the third day, Nathan takes Caleb to his workshop and explains how he developed Ava's facial recognition software by hacking every smartphone on the planet. Oh, and Ava's software is based on the Blue Book search engine. During the third session, Ava shows Caleb a pointillistic drawing of the only window in her part of the compound. She then puts on a dress and a wig that conceal her lack of skin. Seeing her like this blows Caleb away, and Ava starts flirting with it. We then cut to Caleb watching her undress later that evening. The next morning, Caleb asks why Nathan made Ava a she. As an AI, Ava doesn't need a body, let alone a gender. But Nathan explains that if we want an AI that can think and interact like a human, it needs to have a body like a human's. Hell, Ava is fully equipped to have sex, because sex is an important aspect of human interaction. Nathan then takes Caleb to look at his Jackson Pollock painting, and talks about how the challenge of duplicating a human brain isn't about creating something that is chaotic or perfectly ordered, but somewhere in between, just like how a living mind works. It's like what I was saying earlier about chaos theory, that nature isn't random so much as it is incredibly complicated. Session 4 begins with an analogy, and then the power dies. Ava explains that she's behind the power cuts, and again she tells Caleb not to trust Nathan. The two men go mountain climbing that afternoon, and Caleb confronts Nathan about the fact that the company sweepstakes wasn't random. Caleb is too perfect an evaluator for the experiment. Nathan freely admits to it, saying it was a cover, since nobody knows about his AI experiments and Caleb is his brightest employee. That evening, as Caleb watches Ava again, Nathan comes in and tears up her latest drawing. Caleb then goes to Nathan's lounge to ask him what the hell he thinks he's doing, but Nathan ignores him and dances with Kyoko instead. For Session 5, Ava uses her facial recognition software as a lie detector, and starts asking Caleb questions. After a few preliminaries, she gets to her real question. What will happen to her if she fails Caleb's Turing test? Caleb doesn't know. When Ava cuts the power again, she says, "I want to be with you." Question 5. Do you want to be with me? After that, Caleb asks Nathan about the failure thing, and Nathan tells him that if Ava doesn't perform, he'll shut her down and improve the software, reformatting her memories and effectively killing her in the process. That evening, Nathan gets even drunker than usual and passes out upstairs. Caleb takes advantage of this to steal Nathan's keycard, sneak into his bedroom, and do some programming on his computer. He also finds some footage of previous Ava models, all of them female, and all of them rather disturbingly human and desperate to get out. One of them smashes her arms to pieces trying to bust the door down. When Caleb checks out the cabinet surrounding Nathan's bed, he finds all of them full of robotic women's bodies. Oh, and Kyoko is a robot too. This revelation causes Caleb to have an existential panic attack, and he cuts his arm with a razor blade to confirm that he's actually human. When session 6 begins, Ava is sitting hunched in a corner, anxious because Caleb didn't come in the night. Now that he's here, Caleb has Ava cut the power and tells her he will get Nathan drunk, steal his card, and reprogram the security system. All Ava has to do is trigger a power failure at 10 p.m. Caleb then goes to Nathan and suggests that they get to drinking to celebrate the end of the testing, but Nathan isn't interested. He asks for a verdict on Ava, and Caleb says yes, she seems self-aware. At this point, Nathan suggests that maybe Ava has only been pretending to like Caleb so that she can use him to escape. Nathan brings Caleb to his central computer to show him the footage of when he tore up Ava's drawing, this time with audio. He explains that he did that so that she would use it as a prop to manipulate Caleb, and that he planted a battery-powered camera while both of them were distracted. So he heard that whole last exchange. But he's actually quite pleased, because the fact that Ava could manipulate Caleb means that she has to be self-aware. This also means that Nathan selected Caleb because he was the perfect patsy. That's when the power goes out. But here's the thing. Caleb suspected Nathan was listening in on their blackout conversations, and so he did the reprogramming when he was on the computer the night before. So Ava escapes. Nathan knocks Caleb out and goes after her, and then breaks her arm off when she attacks him. That's when Kyoko stabs Nathan in the back. And just to be sure, Ava pulls the blade out and stabs him in the chest. As Nathan bleeds out, he seems more confused than anything. With Nathan dead and Kyoko taken out in the scuffle, Ava goes to Nathan's bedroom, replaces her arm with a spare from his creepy closets, and then covers herself in skin and a dress as Caleb watches once again. She then leaves him behind in Nathan's locked room, not caring one bit that he can't get out. When the helicopter arrives, she goes with it, and wanders off into the great big world. The analysis. Let me first say that Ex Machina isn't necessarily a feminist story, or at least feminism isn't as central to it as it is in Trouble and Her Friends or The Handmaid's Tale. However, you don't have to look very hard to find feminist elements. All the robots are female, all the humans are male. Caleb constantly watching Ava represents the male gaze, and is the reason we shouldn't feel too bad about him getting left behind. Nathan's hobbies are all stereotypically masculine: working out, binge drinking, mountain climbing, computer programming, bragging about how great he is. And what does he create? Women. Exclusively women. There are even biblical connotations to this. Eve coming from Adam's rib, Ava being a variant name for Eve. And what does Nathan do with his creations? He locks them up and experiments on them. He treats them as subhuman, even when they display very human-like qualities like wanting to escape captivity. And he surrounds his bed with their broken and naked bodies. Kyoko he keeps around and treats like sort of a pet that serves food and lets him fuck her. And even though she has the capacity to decline his advances, as proven by her stabbing him, she can't afford to, because she knows what happens to little girls who misbehave. So yes, there is definitely an element of gender inequality in this movie. But then here's the thing. This inequality is used less as a theme in itself and more as an illustration of the movie's truest theme. See, this film is packed with symbolism from top to bottom. Mirrors and reflected images are everywhere, both to symbolize the near replica of humanity that is advanced AI, and to represent the lies and duplicities which all four characters engage in. There's a natural versus artificial symbolism that comes from the fact that Ava is trapped in a man-made room with one window, while Caleb and Nathan can spend their time surrounded by beautiful landscapes. The film also plays with color versus black and white a few times as another metaphor. But what all of that surrounds is a single key theme, the question that the whole movie was created to explore. What is human nature and sapience? And could we recognize it in others if we saw it? There's this one old thought experiment called the philosophical zombie. The idea is that if a person were to react exactly the same way a human would, to banter with friends, recoil from pain, seek out companionship, and so on, but if this person actually had no consciousness, no internal monologue or self-reflection, would that person still qualify as a human? Or is there some indefinable quality to humanity that you cannot measure from the outside? On its own, the philosophical zombie is a rather meaningless idea, unless you're talking to a philosopher who believes in some form of metaphysics or divinity. But it does have some relevance when you're thinking about artificial intelligence. How can we define where sapience and self-awareness begin and end? And how will we know when an AI passes this threshold instead of merely approaching it? And if AI advances past this point, what hope could we have of measuring it? And what if there is no step beyond sapience, and all we can do after this point is refine our existing faculties? Part of the problem is that we have no frame of reference. There used to be a lot of near-modern humans running around, but then Homo sapiens showed up to the party and drove the rest to extinction and/or crossbred with them to the point of becoming indistinguishable. We have artifacts and old bones, but that is far short of the ability to measure near-human intelligence. A sapient alien to test would help, but at the rate we're going, I think we'll achieve a sapient AI long before we find one of those. The last thing I wanted to mention concerns the movie's take on the old AI uprising trope. I've mentioned before that this is usually based on one of two anxieties: the anxiety of a populist uprising and the anxiety of a child replacing the parent. There's also the anxiety of nuclear annihilation, but that's usually connected to one of the other two. Ex Machina is a very personal tale, so obviously it's based on the parent-child relationship. But here's the strange thing. Nathan seems to welcome this inevitability. Nathan created Ava from the ground up. He gave her a gender and a human-like body so that she could experience things in a human-like way. He not only allowed her to develop a desire to escape, he started using this as a benchmark. Every time one of her precursors failed to escape, he dismantled it and refined the design. Nathan wasn't just courting disaster, he was counting on it. The analogy to real life is remarkably on point. Nathan is an abusive dad who's hard on his daughter because he wants to toughen her up. So of course, one day she toughens up and lashes out at him. So what must he have felt as he sat there bleeding out? Shock, anger, disappointment, sure. But maybe also a little bit of pride. Because now his baby is gonna take on the world and win. Thanks for joining me again today in AV Corner. I hope I'll see you next time when I actually do cover media technology.